Hello, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. How you doing? How you living? I am too blessed to be stressed as usual. I hope you feel the same. Ignore my thumb. I burnt it, then it bubbled up, but don't worry about that. How we doing? Yesterday was not a lot of fun. There's been a lot of finger pointing. There's been a lot of names saying, hey, making, hold down, hootenannies. It doesn't matter what kind of party you're into, or what side of the fence you may lay on. Everyone's opinion is valid, so just a healthy disclaimer. Some people got pretty upset with me. I was on various channels, Irish Hotspur, the Football Terrace, Spurs Talk Show with Sean. You know, some people in the chat didn't like what I had to say, but that's okay. You know, not everyone's going to always agree about their opinions. But you know what? It was funny because I was speaking with my chest. I was speaking with my thoughts and my heart well composed, I thought. And then ANGE POSTECOGLOU quotes came out. Pretty much backed up everything I said. But that's neither here nor there. Just got a few things we'll talk to you about. Got a beautiful guest lined up, already writing me love letters, I can see. Just a great F.U. Jacob. And I love that. I saw it right before the show started. And if anything needed to get me going was a little love letter from my guest. I'll bring him on momentarily. But I just want to say happy Wednesday. How we all doing? No Carabao Cup for Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, we lost to Fulham. But I mean, some would say we drew to Fulham and we scrambled it on penalties. I mean, that's an argument that is up for debate. To me, I'm just going to get it out from the jump on the show because it's what the title is. I want to get it out before I bring my guest because then the immaculate vibes shall proceed. And also I want him to hear my full thoughts, and then I would like to hear their full thoughts as well. So first and foremost, let me say thank you and shout out to all the Patreon members of the channel. All the people shout out. My wife, my beautiful wife, gets first place prize today. Says, oh my God, can't wait. I think that was facetious, but that's neither here nor there. First place prize for the members goes, Rich, I love you, Jacob. I really do, but I can't disagree with you more on this one. Big up, though. And what he's talking about is my stance on the match. As you can see in the title, I do not feel like ANGE POSTECOGLOU is to blame for the loss at Fulham. Now, hear me out. I honestly, truly, in my heart of hearts, and you know, there's only a handful of people. There's about 35 of y'all in the house, 38. Hit that like, hit that vote on the poll. But I want to get this out over the top, and then I'm probably going to get asked about it like an hour and a half into the show, and I might have to do this all again. So sorry about that. But for me, I don't put this one on ANGE POSTECOGLOU. Nope, not at all. The only thing I question that I feel like I would direct my blame for ANGE POSTECOGLOU about is why Fraser Forster. Now, Fraser Forster saved everything that he could save. The own goal of Mickey Van de Ven was not his doing, so I don't really blame him for that. But in the penalty shootout, we saw what looked to be an old man who just played 90 minutes of football. Now, some say sub him on before the penalty kicks. I would say that's a mistake because you want a keeper that's warm. But obviously, if Fraser Forster is not warm, then you need to make that change. Vicario looked very engaged with the whole match. But when you look at the lineup, the 9 changes, Elvis G right here, another YouTube chat member says, evening everyone, the defeat is definitely on ANGE. 9 changes to a winning team. It was always going to end badly. Respect the great work he's done, but we must pull him up when he makes mistakes. I don't think he made a mistake, personally. I really don't. I don't really have the counterpoint to bring up or a person to counter argue this. You know, maybe my guest will. I don't know that yet. But for me, I'm just going to say it like this. ANGE quote said, how am I going to find out my players? We need to give the players the opportunity to contribute. Now, I know that a lot of us have watched some of these players for years, some of these for a couple years. We all know that we have no depth. We all know that. ANGE POSTECOGLOU likely knows that. So the argument that he sees him at training, he saw him in preseason, I don't think that that's enough for him to justify going to the board and saying, yeah, these players don't work in my system. I can't get a tune out of these players. Now, what I think justifies that in the Eric Dyer argument is he had the tape of Barcelona to show the board and say, look, at all of this, I made him captain. I supported him. And this is the performance. He does not work in this system. That justifies that. Now, I think, this is me, I think that Ange Postecoglou did this to show just how, what does all fans say? We have so many holes in so many positions. Obviously, left back, if Ugodi goes down, Ben Davies is not a suitable backup. Right winger, Kulusevski, if he doesn't perform or he gets injured, Solomon, is he good enough? Is Emerson Royale good enough? Is Davinson Sanchez good enough as our third option? Well, I think Ainge now has the video proof that in his system, all these 9 players don't fit. You could even argue the 10th player being Richarlison. Now, he did get the goal, so I don't want to be too hard on the man. But I felt like outside of that goal, he was largely non-existent. So for me, I don't blame Ange Postecoglou for playing with what he's got. I immediately think of the phrase, you can't paint a Picasso with a bunch of broken crayons. And this was him showing that he cannot do that. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset because they say, well, you threw away a goal, you threw away a cup match, you disrupting the team's mojo. We just, had 3 decent results, 2 wins on the bounce. So we're feeling pretty good. And I would say, yeah, I agree with that. But let's remember, we only got like over 45 hours until the transfer window closes. If he shows the ineptitude at all these positions and all these roles, if he shows that, say, versus Burnley, versus Sheffield, well, it's too late then. And then we're crying until January. Oh, when January comes around. And also, I would throw out the point that players like Davinson Sanchez, myself included, said maybe we could get a tune out of this guy as a backup rotational guy. Well, yesterday that proved me to be mudded about that. And I'll take that L. He's obviously nowhere near good enough being a backup, and he proved that. He got turned around several times. Now, make of it what you will. Ainge talking to Spurs play, the Cabbage Master talking about, he rated a lot of what Davinson Sanchez did, and we probably don't get to penalties if Davinson didn't make some of those tackles. Now, I would argue that obviously a Romero would make those same tackles, if not better, and not get turned around quite so much like he did on that first goal. But regardless of that, I think the fact of him playing these guys goes to prove the point that he's making and the point that I'm making as well. I think if you look at the substitute, the first substitute being Dane Scar for Giovanni Lo Celso, which, by the way, I just got sidetracked because I was thinking of Giovanni Lo Celso. Okay, so Giovanni Lo Celso is a guy that we all said, not me, I've never liked the guy's attitude, but we all said, and by we all, I mean Spurs fans, said that Giovanni Lo Celso is the guy to come in whenever James Maddison is not healthy, whenever he needs a rest, etc. Now, James Maddison put in a shift 72 hours before we kicked off. Giovanni Lo Celso did nothing to prove that he is that guy that we can count on when we don't have a James Maddison. And we should be able to have games where we rest starters and have guys who can play. And Ainge put it up there the same way I said in the preseason with the Barcelona game in regards to Dyer and Sanchez. He put the meat on the platter and said, which dog is hungriest to go get it? Well, yesterday, no one proved outside of Mickey Van de Veen, and, I mean, you could say Fraser Forster within 90 minutes, outside of the penalties. Who else really showed that they deserve to be here? Richarlison got the goal, so maybe you could argue that as well. I'd understand that. But outside of that, I wouldn't be mad if every single person on that pitch yesterday, outside of Van de Veen, was sold. I wouldn't personally bat an eye at it. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen, but I think by Ange Postecoglou playing these players, putting it on full display, the first sub being a Dane Scarlett, shows that he even gave Dane 45 minutes to prove what can you do for me in this system. And now he has the tape to go to the board and say, this is what I think, this is what players don't work. Look, I have the video evidence. There's proof right there to back it all up. So that's what I know I'm going on a little bit of a ramble. We're almost 12 minutes in. Shout out to the 75 of y'all tapped in right now. I am going on a little bit of a rant, but I felt like it needs to be said. I felt like Ange Postecoglou's decision-making has come under scrutiny by people, quite frankly, no more qualified than Ryan Mason. And am I going to really say, like, what Ange Postecoglou should do? Am I here to say, oh, well, then at this juncture, he should have made this substitution tactically? He was giving them all a chance versus Premier League level competition. Now, Fulham had rotation as well. A top Premier League side, which is what we are aspiring to be, can rotate 72 hours after a Premier League match. That is something they can do. We proved yesterday that we cannot do it. Now, let's not go over the top and say we had a complete F-all performance. We drew at the end of the day. It was technically when the best player of the day, Tete, their right back, it was technically whenever his shoe was gone, he ran to the locker room, and then we took advantage of the situation. Now, I'm proud of that. But at the same time, let's be brutally honest here. We all know that these players aren't good enough. We all know that they haven't been good enough. But when we've seen them, it was either for Pochettino, Jose, Nuno, Conte. That's what we saw them all play under. So no game footage you could show. At the end of the day, if this is a court of law, which I'm judging the board to be the jury, you're going to the jury, and Ange is the lawyer, saying, look, this is the evidence I've compiled. Now they say, oh, well, if that's video evidence for when he played for Pochettino, that's video evidence for when he played for Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Nuno, etc. That doesn't really matter in this case. Okay? Well, now Ange Postecoglou has the evidence to provide the jury to say, in my system, doesn't matter Jose, Conte, whoever, it don't matter. What matters is Ange's system. Now, whatever we want to draw it up to be, we think is best, whatever this and that, Ange is going to know what's best for Ange's system, right? It's named after the guy. So I would assume that by him doing this, and then the Dane Scarlett substitution, my assumption was always that he's testing these guys to see who can he rely on. Now, you say it's in a cup, right? This is not the time to be doing that. We're supposed to be going for it, etc. We did go for it. We went for it with Tottenham Hotspur players. These players should be good enough to perform in that match. That's not Ange's fault. These players aren't good enough. I'm not going to make the easy deduction and say it's the board. I'm going to blame the players and the board, quite frankly. And then I would question the goalkeeper thing. But that's aside. That's besides the point. The 9 changes, I completely think is the right decision. You have a couple hours left. A couple hours, I mean, technically over 24 hours left in the transfer window. So you would hope that this could be the ignition to start us in a trend of, you know what, now we do see that there's 9 holes we have in every position. I would argue even in the starting 11 we have a couple holes, but we can get those filled out. My more concern is this depth, and that was on full display yesterday. So that's my spiel. Took me about, 12 minutes, 15 minutes of this video. So I haven't really looked at the chat because, as you know, I'm very easily distractible. So I haven't looked at the chat yet. I will go through it in just one moment. But I see that I have a new member that has signed up. Woodsy1021 signed up for the membership. I'm assuming the Lover's Lane. Big up, Woodsy. I appreciate that. And Jake B. Ensu Fatty to Brighton. 99%. Here we go. Big up, Jake, for the donation. Looks like in Australia. Big up. Good morning. How are you keeping? That was a lot of a rant for you to be hearing first thing in the morning, so I apologize. You put that in your coffee. I don't know what the flavor is going to end up being like, but I appreciate you donating to the channel in this way. I did have a couple things that apparently Ansu Fati to Tottenham was 99% done. Now it's Brighton that looks like they are jumping out ahead. Per Fabrizio, like literally right before the show started. So big up. I also want to say big up to everybody who's tapped in right now. I see about 100 of y'all in the house. That's absolutely enormous. 100 of y'all just listening to me ramble about how I felt about Ange Postecoglou. And you know what? I know a lot of people are going to disagree. So before I go through the chat, I know a lot of people are going to disagree. But I do want to run through the chat. I want to say what's up to everybody, as you know I like to do. But again, that's a hell of an intro. It's one of those, you know, in a movie when the intro, before they show you the title of the movie, it's like 15 minutes long, like Pulp Fiction or something. I'm going to say it was like that. I went on, but welcome to episode number 39 of the Untitled series here on United Spurs of America. So whether you're watching live or on playback, hit that like. If you haven't subscribed already, I would encourage you to do so. But you don't have to. It's a free universe, free world. You are free to do as you so choose. If you want to like, you want to dislike, I welcome you to do either or. Just don't do neither. And that's what I would say. Participate in that poll. Let's see how many votes we got. 68 votes, 49 likes. So a few of y'all don't want to grab the free beer on the way to the party, but that is all right. Keep hitting that. Keep hitting it. Where are we at? 40% says Ainge 100%. He picked the lineup. 34% says I blame everyone associated. 20% says players at fault. They are all useless. And 6% says other. Tell me who you blame. And I wonder what we're going to be saying in the chat. But I've kept my guest waiting. I went on a little bit longer than I anticipated. So let me bring him out without further ado. What's cracking, my man from down under? Good morning. How are you doing, Paul?
Oh yeah, you know, I'm feeling better than yesterday. Usual post-defeat funk. Especially it was like the game was on during the. Well, I was up all night basically, and then just slept in the day and just moped around, and a bit disheartened. But it's another day now. Bugger it.
Yeah.
Interesting thesis you have there, Jacob.
My little spiel there at the top of the show.
I don't disagree with you, and I think the main point is the transfer window's finishing in 2 days, so this is the last chance he would have had to have seen these players.
And that's what I'm saying.
It's just the timing of it all. It's a cup game. Could we have seen some of those changes maybe in the game against Bournemouth where he played the same second 11? Maybe not, because if what you're saying, let's go along with what you're saying, he's building up this body of evidence to take to their suits in their big leather chairs and say, look, I need help here. And so as well as just showing the crap tape of us against Fulham, for him to have a case, he would have had to also show them tapes of when we were good. So maybe he needed 3 strong Premier League games, bang, 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 and now I'll make some changes and it all goes to shit. But it doesn't help the fact that it hurts being knocked out of a cup, man, as we have done all the previous years. So although I understand Ange's reasons for doing it, I still don't like it, if that makes sense. Bit of a cognitive dissonance going on in my head, man.
I think that's okay. And Ravi here says Spurs fans can't say they're not bothered about being in the League Cup. Look, I never said I wasn't bothered that the fact that we can't challenge for a trophy in this competition. I never said I wasn't bothered by it. I just said I don't blame Ainge for what he did. And if you think about it, we didn't go out there and lose. These players didn't lose that match. It was a penalty shootout. We don't even have a dedicated penalty taker. You could argue that maybe it's Heung-min Son because he took the first one elegantly, might I add, and then James Maddison took the 4th one. But I mean, obviously we can question why Davinson Sanchez was the 3rd one. Obviously that is something we can question. We can also question Fraser Forster in the first place, because I would argue that all the starting 11 are players that Ainge still wants to get more of a look at to see if he could squeeze any juice out the lemon. That was my hypothesis upon seeing the starting 11. So as the game wore on, I was like, well, why wouldn't he put Vicario in there? Because I don't know that I've seen enough to convince me, if I'm putting myself in the shoes of Ainge, like, this must be what he's thinking, and this is what my assumption was. So at no point was I like, this is on him, this loss is on him. This loss is on the players because they couldn't finish the penalty taking. When you look at it, we didn't win that game. We got bossed around that game. Paulinho was one of their best players on the squad, probably if not their most valuable player. I've heard him quoted around the 100 million mark. If you're looking to buy that cat, by the way, that's my point. Is they made some changes, we made some changes. At the end of the day, the squad we put out should be enough in a cup competition, and that's not on Ainge. That the fact that his squad he inherited has no depth. Whose fault is that? And again, I don't want to beat the dead horse of it's the owner, it's the board, it's the lack of, but we're on a new path, we're on a new trajectory, and honestly, I just feel like it's not on the man for seeing what fucking colors and paintings he could make with these broken ass crayons and muddy paint sets. Like, that's not on him that you gave him the utensils in which he didn't paint you a pretty picture. You know what I'm saying? You give the artist the tools. Then you can judge the man on the painting. That's my feeling. That's the way I feel about it. It's just my opinion.
And before the game, when the lineup came out, I wasn't downhearted or anything because I thought, oh well, this is the team that kind of did a job against Barcelona. It should be good enough to take on Fulham. Um, and they just weren't. It's also because I come from this bygone romantic era, Jacob, where you always played the best team for every game. It didn't matter what the game was, and so you'd use about maybe 13, 14 players in the whole year. And my dinosaur brain finds it hard to let go of those halcyon days sometimes. But I did a video myself yesterday. Did some ratings and thing, and my point is, if we do this in January, I will be pissed off when we're in the FA Cup. I can understand it now because of the timing of the transfer window and all that. But if we go out and we play, Colchester United in the FA Cup and we play a team of bozos, then that ain't going to be cool. But let's wait and see what happens, eh? Let's see what happens in the window now, because Jesus, man, that was the last chance saloon for a lot of those players, and I think they don't let the door hit you in the arse on your way out for some of them, really.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we all know, we have years of evidence that these players aren't good enough under various systems, but do we have video proof? That's my thing. I'm looking at it like a court of law, Paul. Telling me that ANGE has video proof that this player cannot play his system. Now, again, Davinson Sanchez was argued to be the third option, that he could do that in a sustainable role. Another option, Maynard Solomon was supposed to be this guy, right? We thought he could be the guy. We think Oliver Skip and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Giovanni Lo Celso, we think these midfield can back up Bissouma Sarr, Bentancur, and Madison. This is mistakes that we made as fans, thinking and being fooled by players year in and year out. And again, Ange Postecoglou doesn't have year in and year out of being fooled. Now you can say, oh, as a manager, you got to go do your homework and watch these guys perform and how they looked under certain managers. But as Ange Postecoglou has said from the beginning, they all have a fresh start with me. They all get a refresh button to see what they can do under my tactics and my tutelage. So for me to do the whole "in Ange we trust," let's back Ange, let's support the manager. It seems funny to me that as soon as the players let the manager down, we're saying, damn, that's the manager's fault that the players let you down. That's not his fault, in my opinion. That's just not.
Yeah, it's just like I say, the timing sucks because it does have the same appearance, but not perhaps the same motive of previous years where we don't care about cups, we only care about the Premier League. So, if you take that game in an isolation without all the context around it, then I think Ange did get it a bit wrong, like you're saying with the keeper, and maybe not doing enough changes at half time because in fact, it's probably not helped the fact that we ended the game in a draw because Fulham were way better than us. We were absolutely crap in that game.
They were absolutely better than us. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we didn't lose. We didn't lose in the 90 minutes.
I know. So now you go at the board with, I've got all these crap players, and the board says, but we didn't lose, did we? Maybe
but look how exposed they were, and look how they didn't.
They don't understand football, these clowns, man.
But that's the hope, right? That we're turning this new leaf, Paul. We're turning and beginning the new era of Spurs. Super NES, the thing I've got up here and fucking screamed about for months. Super NES on the way. But if we're resorting to the same old, they just don't know. I just feel like, man, I just have a hard time seeing how this is. It's always the manager's fault. It's always, and I know that shout out everyone that has opposing opinions, but there's some content creators out there that's saying, oh well, I gotta keep that same energy, and I appreciate them keeping that same energy. That's being true to your word, which is to go after the manager because like they've done in the past. But again, when do we turn that page and say these players have continually let every manager down, and we're still blaming we're blaming the symptoms for the disease instead of blaming the disease for the symptoms? And for me, I don't know, I have a hard time accepting that Ainge was at fault for picking that lineup. I don't blame him one bit, especially when you look at the fact that the window is closing very, very soon. I don't know. Let me see. Let me run through the chat. Let me say what's up to people. The vibes will be immaculate. I just have to say those things. So anyone who tunes into this show to get Jacob's view on it, I don't want it to get misconstrued. Because shout out Henry Wright, but being in the chat where there's 900 people flying in messages and half of them are Henry Thong TV, it's like I can't really get my side of the argument across, but yet the panel's discussing my point of view. So I want to clear it up, and I want it to be, you know, I guess as authentic as I can make it and like articulate it as best that I can. And I'm trying to not get over involved with like how, you know, I feel about it rather than how I think about it. And this is how I think about it genuinely as a manager's perspective, looking at the squad. I got to say, I gotta see if this fucking bike can get me up the mountain. If it cannot, I need a new bike. That's just plain and simple. And how does he know that until he says, damn, I tried this in my way of riding. It hasn't worked. We didn't have that until yesterday. So now we have the evidence. Now there's no excuse on the board to not go and shuffle players. My hope is this changes us from getting just one player in to potentially getting 3 players in. That is my hope. I feel like that's a realistic hope I can have if what I'm hoping to be true is true. Now you may say that, oh, that's going to mud me in the after we do no business and we miss out on everybody, you know. But that's not my fault that the board does. I'm hoping that the board does the right thing and that ANGE has enough of an evidence to provide to show them that, hey, that it's not my fault. It's not my fault, and I really don't think it is. And it's just us as fans, we are so quick to turn and say it was ANGE's fault because the stark difference between the 11 we saw versus these past 3 opponents versus who we saw versus Fulham. So I don't know. I don't want to delve too much longer about the whole Fulham thing. There is obviously a lot of news. Ansu Fati, he was a 99 per some lady from some Spanish network. He was 99% on the way here. Ainge talked to him, buttered him up, but then a damn seagull, like they do in the West Coast. Any West Coast listeners? A seagull came and snatched that sandwich right out of our hands. So not new to me that this happens. It's interesting. It begins a whole different conversation. But before we delve into that, let me see what everyone had to say in the chat. 125 y'all in the house. Please do hit that like. I encourage you to do so. It does wonders for the channel. It's absolutely free. Costs you not a single thing but the click of a finger. And if I can't get you to wiggle that finger once, but I can talk on here for an hour, 2 hours, then maybe I just suck at what I'm doing. So show some support for the channel. Do that. Let your opinion be heard in the poll. So far, 97 votes, 71 likes. So I appreciate y'all who just started smashing that like as I said it. Y'all are absolutely goats. So the 72 of y'all, big up yourself right now. And then the 97 people voted in the poll. And right now it's a pretty tight race, Paul. The question is, how do you feel? Or wait, who do you feel is to blame for the loss at Fulham? 36% is checking in saying Ainge 100%. He picked the lineup. So it feels like most of the 97 say that it is Ainge's fault. And 35% say I blame everyone associated. 23% says players' fault. They are all useless. And another 6% saying other. Curious to see.
Look, this is the way I'm kind of looking at it, I suppose. Let's see if I can make sense here. If you look at it just in the terms of that one game, then yes, it is Ange's fault because he picked the team. But, and I think this is what you're kind of saying, Jacob, correct me if I'm wrong though, is that he was doing this as part of the greater good, the more overall picture scheme of things. He had to do it to show what kind of a state our backup players were in and hopefully get some action. So it's not that the motivation was impure or he tried to lose or anything like that. But at the end of it, he didn't pick the best team to win that game. And I think that's what people have the problem with.
But shouldn't our $60 million striker be able to go out there and put some meat on it? I mean, the first half we had one shot. We had one shot in the first half. Is that Ainge's fault that our players were kept looking for the back pass when they faced any type of adversity? Is that their fault? Man. He's shown that the first 11. I'm not going at you, Paul, by the way. I'm just using you as kind of the fucking punching bag. Get over here, Paul.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. Just let me finish.
You're just not letting me finish.
You see what I mean? No, it's like it's
Yeah.
the two things can be true. Okay, not the best chance of winning the game, but you had to do it to give the players a chance. It was like their last chance, and they should have been way better than that. So that's not Ange's fault. You know what I mean? It's kind of the greater good argument. So and I'm happy with thinking that, especially.
And I don't even know that it's necessary. Go ahead. Sorry,
when I tweet that the transfer window is only 2 days away, then you've got to. He probably maybe had no choice but to put some of these players on show. But it doesn't mean that gave us the best chance of winning the game. That's all. But he wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? I'm trying to stick up for him, but I feel why people are pissed off as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, I am very upset that we lost in the Carabao Cup. Do I think the time... I also don't blame Ange for the fact that the Carabao Cup match was the last match to put on display the fact that these players are not good enough. And I don't know if it's even a thing for the greater good. I would see it as a manager, you want to hope, right, that your backups are able to step in and do a job. That's the way I would see it. You come into this job, you say, look at all these professionals. Now he figured out the 11 that would best give him results in the Premier League so far, and we've trusted that and we've loved that. Now what's left of that, are we blaming him for the rest of the broken toys that he has to play with and make sandcastles with, and there's not even a bucket with a bottom to do so? It's like, let's keep the energy where it needs to be, in my opinion. The energy is focused on the manager, and it's never been the manager's fault that these players let managers down. Again, I feel like it's just the easy way to say, he picked the lineup, his fault. I get that. I understand that, and I hear that argument, but like, let's look a little bit beyond the simple answer here. Let's see. As a manager, you should be able to say these guys who are making X amount on wages could go in there and do a job versus guys are relatively around their same talent grade.
What like I said, when I saw that lineup come out before the game, I wasn't thinking, oh, we're going to lose. So I thought it should have been good enough to win. So that backs up your point that the players, for whatever bloody reason, just especially the midfield. Well, I was going to say especially the midfield, but the defence, no one showed up, and you can't really put that on Ange. So I can't really say that I wasn't concerned about the lineup before the match, and then say the manager was an arse for picking that team because it seemed a winnable game.
And that's my thing is like, how can Ange in the court of law prove that these players don't work in the Ange system? Show me the video evidence, motherfucker. That's the sound of the police. I digress, but the sentiment remains the same. I do hope everyone's doing well. 130 people here, absolutely well. I hope every single person here, whether you've liked or not liked the video, I hope you're having a blessed week and you're living stress-free, because at the end of the day, let's not let Tottenham getting kicked out the Carabao Cup let us digress from the goal here that we have on this earth, which is to spread some love and happiness to your neighbor and to yourself. Love yourself so you can love others is what I say. It's actually what my wife says. She says you have to love yourself before you can love anyone. So don't be so hard on yourself, Paul. And I would say the same thing to Ange Postecoglou and these players. Don't be too hard on yourself. But actually, some of these players be a little bit harder on yourself. There it is. Police have arrived. They need the video evidence. And Ange Postecoglou now has the video evidence to say, this guy, look at that. Looky there. Just like I talk about... Paul, just like I talk about with the Sonny thing, when people talk about he's lost his pace, and I provide video evidence in which he has not lost his pace. Fine. Well, then the argument changes to, oh, the end product of that cross on the first one didn't go anywhere, or
they're moving the old goalposts, are they?
I don't want to say what they're doing because I don't want to call the moves of another grown adult. I don't call that. That's up to the grown adult to do on their own. But for me, anytime I spit it, sometimes it don't want to be heard. But it's okay. Respect to Brighton. Yeah, this is very shameful. We'll talk about the fatty stuff in a little bit. I feel like some people in the chat have been chiming in about what they think about Ange. Darren says Ange is not a fool. He's a tactical master. Big up Darren Wimbledon, new name in the chat. JC Jacob, why does Ainge need to prove a point on a knockout game? He can do that he can do that at the cost of 3 points in the EPL. So let's put the hypothetical.
Yeah,
Let's say he does that.
I
He
don't
puts those
think
3 points up for grab, and then it's the difference between getting European football and not at the end of the season. We might say, "Damn, we wish that we weren't going to win the Carabao Cup anyway." Because look, City won it; they wanted the quadruple, and now we're sitting here and we just got missed out. Ainge doesn't get European football in his next year, and like we could always play the hypotheticals, right?
But I think also, we've only had 3 Premiership games, and if Ange is building a case, okay, so we had Brentford. Let's say that was a good 45 minutes. Man United, it was a good 60 minutes. Bournemouth was a good 90 minutes. If you would have tinkered with the Bournemouth game to put some of these players in, then you can't really and say we came back with 45 minutes or 0. There's not a pattern. There's not a pattern of progression there. We've got better and better and better, and now we make the changes, and now we're worse. If he'd have done that in the Premier League game, then I don't think you could sell the argument that look, I'm improving, because it's not. There's not enough data there. If you want, over just 2 games, then it had to be three good solid performances. Now we've made the changes. This is what needs to happen.
But not only that, because I would argue if people say, oh, well, the training and the preseason, he had ample time to see that these players weren't good enough for his system. And I would say the intensity in training and the intensity in a preseason match, no matter what the name of the trophy is not the same as when your back's against the wall in a knockout match versus caliber of a team that you should be in and around, and you don't get the job done. That's not Ainge's fault. That's not it. I can't see how that is Ainge's fault. Regardless of the 9 changes, I think he should be able to make 9 changes, and we go out there and put it in a shift versus Fulham, who also made some changes. I know not as much as us, but they still made changes.
Still 6.
6 changes to their 11. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
More than 50% of their lineup changed, and we changed about 92% of ours. So, I mean, to me, it's just like we could all sit here and play football manager, but like Ainge has got to get these guys to whether show it or not show it. And I think yesterday he proved that they cannot show it, and they proved that to him. And now he has the proof to go run to the court of law and say, look, jury, this is why I need 6 to 9 new substitutes, because these guys can't. You could argue 10 because Richarlison. So that's just my opinion. I understand people are going to feel differently. I hope you don't hate me for it. I don't hate you for deferring with my opinion. Anyone out there in the chat who defers their opinion to mine, hey, it's all good. It's all in the name and the love of Tottenham Hotspur. And I understand the people who are upset because, obviously you want to see this club challenge for any of the trophies that are available. And Ainge said that he wants a challenge. And he's going to put out a squad that he believes should go out there and be able to get the win. And that's how I believe, because I trust in Ainge. And I feel like if you're going to say you trust in Ainge, then you have to trust in Ainge when he says that. And then post-match when he says, I thought this player did all right. I thought this player did X, Y, and Z. That's just me. When I look at where I want Tottenham to be, I want Tottenham to be like and obviously not like a city, but like a city in the sense we're interchangeable. It doesn't matter what brand of tire you put on the car is going to run regardless, because the tire knows its job and the tire's not faulty.
We're so far away from that, though.
We are, yeah. But how else do we get there without exposing the needs that the automobile needs to fucking run in the race? That's my point. And how can I blame Ainge because he shows up and the car's fucking put together with tin cans and a little spigot wheel? You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I supposed to blame the man for that? And say, oh, you didn't race a good race, my friend. Yeah, I know it wasn't our best option to race with. We all know that, but it should still be able to get you damn around the park.
You jack the car up and you look under it, and instead of a drive shaft, you've just got Oliver Skip holding the 2 ends trying to turn the thing. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I know. Again, big ups to everybody that's locked in. I see there's another super chat. I'm way behind in the chat, but Kaylee Davis YouTube chat member also hitting us with the dono says, Ange almost threaded the needle yesterday. I admire his appetite for risk. I mean, imagine we go and we win 2-1 in the 90th minute. We're all singing, damn, he got it done with this group of stray dogs. Now he's got them acting like whatever those Alaska, what are they called when the like Alaska, Balto. That's a Disney reference, by the way, Paul. Balto was a dog in Alaska. He like ran in the snow with other dogs, and they sled dog. You don't know what that is out there in Australia.
No,
But big ups
not
everybody in
really.
the chat. I know I'm super behind. Big up Kaylee Davis for the $5 donut to the chat. I hope you are doing well. Happy Wednesday or Thursday. It's almost Thursday for y'all, but good evening to anyone out there. I see 120 votes in the chat. 36%, no, 35% blaming it on Ange. Blame it on Ange. 34% says I blame everyone associated. So I think, again, I support everybody that wants to get their opinions across. I see some more votes. Ange is getting more of the blame. I mean, the chat seems to go in the opposite direction of what I think, and that's okay. I think it's okay that we all differ on opinions. Honestly, that's what help. Variety makes the world go round or something like that. JC says you're missing the point. Ainge doesn't need to risk being knocked out. He can play those guys in a game with less on the line. I would argue every Premier League match there's a hell of a lot on the line, especially when your job consists of how well you do in the Premier League. Let's look at it. If we're in December and he hasn't performed well in the league, does he still have a job? Should he still move his family out to London? What are we doing here? That's what I think. Every game is a risky game. You're back against the wall. You should be able to answer that call. You're a professional footballer in one of the biggest clubs in the world. You should be I said I use that loosely. I mean, because Paul would say Tottenham is number one in the world.
The greatest
some people
team the world has ever seen, man.
Greatest team the world has ever seen. I love that quote. But I would say that I'm not missing the point. Knockout game, Premier League match, they all matter to Ainge just the same. So whether he did it in a Premier League match, he didn't, is irrespective of the point that I think there's still time to get business done, and he proved where we need to get business done. That's the way I see it. I mean, it's hard for me to see it. I've tried to look at it like, let me blame Ainge for this because he picked those players. But at the same time, put yourself in the man's shoes. Big up Lisa in the house. Big up everybody. If I've missed your name, I do apologize. Absolutely massive people here tonight. Hopefully we can get this video over 100 likes. Help me get that goal. That's always a goal of mine. We've been hitting over 150. So if we can hit 150, that's really dope. But 100 is a nice even triplet. Batting 100 is always a good thing. Big up Lisa. Spurs GCTV says, question, what is the best to try a B team in the Cup or Premier League match? Will those who say Prem now be the ones who cry when we miss European footy by 2 points? That's kind of the point that I was making. Not that I think they would cry about missing European footy, but they would be looking back at our results and saying, maybe we could have done better at this juncture, and that would have solidified. I mean, look at it. When we made top four under Antonio Conte, Davinson Sanchez in stoppage time versus Watford, if he doesn't get that header, we don't get. But no one remembers that. We remember the run we made at the end of the season. But let's keep it at 100 here. That's the way I try to keep it on the channel. I keep immaculate vibes, and I keep it as honest as I can to my truth.
And look, even let's just assume that Ange made a mistake. Well, it's only a mistake. It's not the end of the world. I mean, he's not perfect. There are going to be the odd little bumps as he's trying things and testing things throughout this season. And I don't think that the wheels have fallen off or his judgment is impaired or the board's got to him or anything like that. It's just one of those things. I think he got it wrong. I think he got it wrong for the game. But the world's not falling in. We'll be back at Burnley on the weekend and we'll win.
Very good point. Big up Kuva's in the house. Big up Jacob. Everyone knows the club is run as a business. Top four is where the money is, so cups don't matter. Ainge picks a team, but he has massive pressure not to drop league points. I would agree that in the last part for sure. Regardless of cup runs, he's under immense amount of pressure to not drop league points. 100%, I agree with that. Patty Hartnett is in the house. As good afternoon. My second favorite American, because Bobby is your favorite American. Interesting. Hey, Kate, with Just a Girl Love Spurs. Hope you're living well. Baxter Thewell says 1-1, including own goal, then loss on penalties. Get a grip, people. Good reasoned response, Jacob. Big up, Baxter. That's a new name in the chat. Let me know where you're tapping in from. Hope you're feeling blessed. Too blessed to be stressed, my friend. But this is kind of where I landed. I took a step back from the emotions of yesterday and said, you know, we drew that match. We came back in a match in which Tete's shoe was fixing to be the MVP for us. It was going to be the man of the match. You know what I mean? It was going to be Tete's, what was his left boot, whatever, which one he needed to replace.
Get your own fucking shoe. We're not going to help you get it. You just, you know.
What do they have an equipment manager for?
I thought they'd have like a little kit.
Bro,
man,
even when I worked at FC Dallas, there was a guy in there and a guy out there, and they say, hey, we need X, Y, and Z. And the guy fucking sprints in there to go make sure the guy in there is getting X, Y, and Z. And that's at the MLS level. But you couldn't imagine a Premier League club. The manager's fucking eating some chips, drinking a beer. He's like, this is a good match. We're doing all right. Man of the match, Tete's boot. Big up that guy. Ravi says, Angel be all right. It's a lot of players that need to fix up. Absolutely. Daniel, this is depressing. The last 24 hours has a Spurs fan low. That defeat last night, and now the Brighton have more pull than us. Let's talk about it. We're 45 minutes in. I'm way behind in the chat. Big ups to all of the 92 of you who have hit that like and helping the channel in that way. Big up yourself. I'm super behind in the chat. But if you do want to do a question that you want us to talk about, just hit a Q with a dash. I already answered one earlier. I'll see it. I'll star it. Obviously, you can do a super chat and get it read out immediately like Jake and Kaylee have done. But if you want to do the free thing, I'm a big free 99 guy myself, Paul. I like free things in life. So if you don't want to do that and you don't have to, just hit a Q, and that'll get my attention to at least see the question. So, Paul, before we move on from the Fulham match, when Davinson Sanchez missed that third penalty, which I don't know why he was third. There's reports coming out that allegedly no one else wanted to take the kick, so he was like, fuck it, I'll do it. At least the man did it. Wasn't great. He kind of passed it rather than shot it, but you know how we don't even have a dedicated penalty taker. So it was interesting to me, you know, kind of the order and like the way that we ran out. But what were you thinking in that moment when Davinson Sanchez stepping up to the plate?
I thought it was kind of irrelevant because I thought Fraser Foster just wasn't getting near any of the penalties. So I thought, we're going to miss, but whether we miss or not, they're going to get all their penalties unless they sky one. So I was kind of resigned to losing the shootout, really, and I thought that was a fair result. To be honest, I thought Fulham were the better team anyway.
I just saw Ansu Fati to Brighton. Here we go. Deal in place between Brighton and Barcelona, as revealed earlier. No buy option clause. Loan deal till June 2024. Main part of salary covered. Travel booked on Thursday. Brighton want it signed ASAP. He's going out there tomorrow. Let me pull the tweet up so we can all see it together. I just got the update. I have an update when Fab tweets, because if he tweets, here we go, Daddy got to be informed. But let me go ahead and pull.
I should be doing research. Sorry, Jacob.
This is where, as a guest, I forgive you.
Oh, no, you don't, man. I say that you don't.
Here it is. Wait, I'll zoom it in. Ansu Fati to Brighton. As you can see, Fabrizio right there. Ansu Fati to Brighton. Here we go. Deal in place. Everyone's already been chiming in saying that they're pretty upset with it. Big up Jim as well. Big up Derek. Big up John Joe. Big up Kev Williams. Big up Woodsy grabbing that newest membership. Welcome to the family. I don't know if I said I was in the middle of a rant, but big up Woodsy. Thank you for grabbing that membership. Welcome to the United Spurs of America family, my friend, the Lover's Lane, where you'll be loved and treated immaculately. At least I hope so. And Daniel says, don't blame Ange for 9 changes. Then will you blame him for his mistakes? Because pure and simple, that was a mistake yesterday. I don't think it was a mistake. I don't think it was. I really don't think it was a mistake. Faz Radfar, are we not supposed to write off this season and let Ainge rebuild for future seasons? Anything else will be a bonus. Let's back Ainge. I agree with this. I kind of Paul, I know I love getting up here and you get me riled up, and then I start saying the treble's on and start sweating from my pits and every
No, the
orifice I
double's
have.
on, though. The double.
It's too soon, Paul. It's too soon. But what I will say is, realistically looking at it, I hoped for just squeaking on into the conference league, doing something nice in the league, and making a couple cup runs. That's what I wanted. I didn't expect to win no cup. So the fact that we didn't make a cup run, I'm not too heartbroken over, because my expectations were never to make a deep or to win the thing, but were the hopes to make a deep run. So I never had hope that we would get there, because let's look at it. We're trying to change things for a new. Obviously, it's not our fault that some players are refusing to leave. They're just like, they locked their door. They said, I refuse to leave. SWAT has arrived. Tanguy and Domblé won't go to Genoa. We did put Jed. I don't know if you heard, Paul, Jed Spence officially is at Leeds now.
Yeah,
Jed
got the Leeds. I saw that, man. Yeah.
So him and Joe Roden are going to be tearing it up in the championship. Just you watch, come back and be cooking. But yeah, so for me, this is, I'm not upset. I'm really not upset. Made 0 sense to play Højbjerg because he's cup tied. So if United do want him, he cannot play in the cup. I don't care if he can play in the cup for United. I don't give a rat's ass. That's just how I feel. David, the team that played are all contracted team players that are supposed to be of high quality and able to play Ange ball. They all train together. So this plainly proves who the crap are. And now Ange has the video proof. Daniel, it's okay if you're fuming tonight. All emotions are accepted here at United Spurs of America. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate if you have a differing opinion. You know, it's okay. Point is, Jacob, we would have got bosses about how we have started our first team. We wouldn't have gotten bossed about if we had started our first team. You could say that. I mean, I would agree with you. But how it doesn't, I just don't see like how this ties into the fact that there's a deadline day coming up, and we're, as a lot of fans have sat back and said, oh, this player could work in this role. This player can suit us in this manner. Well, this proved that none of these players can suit us in those manners when the pressure's on at the most. Backs up against the wall, knockout fucking round. What are you going to do? Die or kill? And guess what? We almost killed, but we died. And we didn't fight well either. So, yes, it was not fun. We didn't enjoy the end result. We didn't enjoy the journey. But at the same time, let's have it right. Like, these players should be able to do something. They really should. That's just the way I see it. Like, that lineup should be able. Everyone said Adama Traore ain't shit, but yeah, he danced all over us. Almost got 2 assists on the day, but he's not good enough for us. But now our backups can't even contain the guy who's not good enough for us. Somebody make it make sense to me.
Van der Ven got him a couple of times, which was good to see. There was still a little good couple of moments. I thought Van der Ven was great. You know, he's probably one of our best players on the pitch and showed his pace, his speed. He was great. But yeah, like, you know, I was one of those people thinking, especially after that Barcelona game, hey, you know, maybe Davinson Sanchez, maybe there is redemption for this guy. Maybe he could play as a backup. Well, you're right. Now we know he can't. He's just not good enough at all. And a lot of players showed that. Skip was another one that was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
But he had a brace versus Barcelona, so people were saying maybe he has a place in this system.
Yeah, no, I never look. I just don't think.
Like John Murray said, 9 of the 11 starters outplayed Barcelona. Why didn't he play those players in the Bournemouth game where it didn't matter if we lost? It does matter if we lost. We dropped those 3 points at the end of the season. We're talking a different tune. Watch, just wait for the end of the season when we skim by 2 points, getting European football, and we look back and say, damn, that the fact that we went for it all in every single league match was more important than the fact that we didn't go out. Than the fact that we went out in the first round as opposed to going out in the third round or the quarterfinal. You know what I mean? Like, if City want that trophy, it's theirs. If Liverpool want that trophy, I would argue it's theirs. Those 2 right there that could just grab it from us if they so please. Like, we're the little boy, and they're just like, that's my controller. This is my game system. You can't play no more. So I would say it does matter in the grand scheme of things, especially if I'm Ange Postecoglou, my job's on the line. They're saying, I expect you to do X, Y, and Z. Well, shoot, one of those things wasn't get far in the League Cup. Well, then here you go. I think it's timing wise as well. The transfer window coming up. Yeah, the timing's tough. It's not his fault, in my opinion. It's
I mean,
not his
this
fault.
goes down to, I mean, I mean, a bit of a sidetrack, but having the transfer window still open after all the competitions start, I think is just ridiculous. Just close it before the league starts, and you know, some teams are going to get lucky and some teams aren't. But you know, and then we've still got the situation where Saudi Arabia can come and poach even further on. Their window goes on for another 2 weeks. So you know,
Yeah.
it's just a circumstance, isn't it? But like I say, if we do the same in the FA Cup in January when we've gone through this thing a couple of times, then I can understand why people would be saying we're not giving the cups any respect.
Also, Derek Smith, Van de Veen is not. He has one own goal. The first one versus Brentford is not ruled his goal. So anyone don't believe me, go look it up. And then Nick Barry Ranjit Collison, whatever he feels like on today, says Jacob, come on, mate, this is nonsense. I disagree. It's not nonsense. He has to take responsibility for those changes. He did. He said, I wanted to see these guys play. How is that not taking responsibility? I wanted to see these guys if they could put in a shift and do the job I need them to do for me. And this proves that no, they cannot. Because if you look back and you say, well, Oliver Skip did do well versus Barcelona. Yeah, he didn't do good versus Brentford, but there may still be hope. Solomon, yeah, he may be able to come be backup. You know, Sonny's struggling out there on the left. Maybe we throw Solomon out there and see. Solomon on the right and the left was ineffective, by the way, yesterday. So let's remember that. And then we're saying, oh, Ben Davies, Udogie get injured. Can Ben Davies put in a shift? No, he cannot. Romero goes down, gets red card. Van de Veen, same thing. Can Sanchez step in? No, he cannot. He proved that. He's proved. There's so much proof. It's not nonsense, Nick. It's just you trying to write it off because it doesn't suit your narrative. And I understand why you would do that, but let's not call it nonsense. It's fair, and you just don't like what I'm saying, and that's okay. Terry Wright, I think there's enough blame to go around. However, I do think there was too many changes, especially this early in the season with an international break looming. What does international break got to do with Ange Postecoglou is what I want to know. Outside of the fact that some of these players are going to be missing for a few weeks from his training sessions, what does this mean to Ange? Them playing, and that doesn't mean anything, in my opinion. I think I've heard a lot of people, not you, Terry, right? I'm not singling you out. Just I've heard people talk about, oh, well, the international break's coming up, so you got to go for it. You can't be resting 72 hours after Destiny Udogie. How hard have you stubbed your toe? Have you ever kicked the floor before and like really stubbed the shit out of your toe? You're telling me 72 hours later you want that man going and kicking at everybody for 90 minutes? I mean, these guys need rest. They're not machines. We talked about last season how these players were overworked, overran, and now it's, oh, they should. We were 3 matches in. I was on the football terrace, and some United fan told me, oh, that's waffle. We're 3 matches in, and you're already rotating. Yeah, 3 matches in, but our last match was 72 hours ago. 72 hours ago, if I go hit an extreme workout and run for 5 kilometers, in 3 days, my legs will be starting to not feel like jelly. You know what I'm saying? So, like, from a professional athlete standpoint, yes, they should be able to recover. But, like, man, you got to see if these pieces can work with the system you're building. That's just how I see it, man.
It was just surprising how badly these players didn't get it, did they? They weren't even trying to play whatever Ange wanted to do. And it wasn't just the tactics, it was just the basics. They were losing the ball, not completing passes. It was just weird how, you know, sometimes, I don't know, I think football games have like an energy, a flow to them, and we were never on it anywhere on the pitch. You know, people were hiding from the ball. I think Ange probably learnt a lot though. So I'm not disagreeing with you at all, Jacob. I think what you're saying is right, but I can just see the side that, you know, it's a disappointment as well. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, we know who the players are now, man. Fuckers.
Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs says, it's not a court of law, though. It's football, and Ainge said he has watched loads of our videos, so he should have known those players were not up to it. Again, those videos he watched, what system were they playing, Kate? You're telling me I'm not grasping it. I love you as well, but you're not grasping what I'm saying. People refuse to listen to what I'm saying. They have not played Ainge ball. There's no amount of video Ainge could have looked at and said, they played my system. Prove me wrong if that's true. Show me the video where they've played Ainge's system before he got here that he could have said, yes, they don't. I know it's not a court of law, it's football, but you're going in a political sense to a board full of suits and ties, and you have to show and say why this guy, Eric Dyer, doesn't work. Well, Barcelona, we got the game footage. Check. Do we have game footage of Davinson Sanchez not grasping the tactics? Well, technically, he did a shift during Barcelona, and he put in a shift for an injured Romero week 1. So, you know, we could have lost that match, but he kind of held us in there. So there's, you know, doubt there. Well, check. Yesterday proved that he can't do it. Ben Davies, let's stall it for grabs. He's a utility man. He can play left side center back, or he can play left back. Check. He cannot play left back in this system. He should not be free roaming like Destiny Ugodi does. My point has always been, he doesn't have video proof that he could have watched or shown anybody to prove that these players don't work in his system. You think a bunch of people who don't really watch the sport sitting in a fancy ass air conditioned room, and they're sitting there, where's the evidence that a 140 million pound Davinson Sanchez does not work in an Ange Postecoglou system? Yes, you've provided the evidence in which it doesn't work for a Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte and Nuno, but where does it not work for an Ange Postecoglou? Well, now we have that evidence. That's my point. We have it now.
Fair enough.
So hopefully I made it a little bit more clear. I understand what you're saying. I am grasping what y'all are saying. I don't have a failure to compute. I am rationally intelligent somewhat, not like a fucking Harvard Yale motherfucker, but I am like a, you know, I can understand and see sides of an argument here. Are you not bothered about winning something? I am bothered about not winning something. But Callum Roach, ask yourself, did you actually think before this season ever kicked off and you saw 3 matches preseason versus 2 teams that I didn't even, who the hell's on that team? Singapore Sea City Lions. I have to go to the local street market to find out who's playing on that squad. And you're telling me that is enough to say, okay, I'm getting a few arguments conflated. So Callum, I want you, I am. So Callum, I want you to ask yourself, before we kicked off Ange ball in the Premier League and hype was hitting us, did you actually think we were going to win any fucking trophies? Any trophies at all? Like, I know Paul does that. We were winning the treble, and I love getting hyped up and juicy about it.
It's a double. That's still good. Still good.
A double is still good. Maybe I don't make sense. Maybe I'm just completely waffling out my ass, but there's still over 110 of y'all here listening to it, so apparently I can't be spitting too much shit.
I think what you're saying is right. Showing players on video from last year isn't going to cut it. He needed, apart from the evidence side, you know, which I think is right, Ange needed to know and feel it and see it, experience it himself.
Yeah. John Joe says you're talking garbage. That's cool, bro. That's your opinion. I mean, I don't tell you what you're doing is talking garbage, but you know, you're feel free to tell me how you're feeling. Hit a dislike on the video on your way out while you do that. If you don't like what I'm saying, it's all good. Again, this is just my opinions. This is just how I see it. So again, if you want to let your emotions override your rationale, that's cool too. I understand it sucks. Like, we should have won that. Yeah, cool. We didn't lose. We drew the fucking match. If this was last year, this goes to a replay. So what are we doing here? What are we actually doing? This would go to a replay and we say, well, we live to fight another day. Ainge could do this, that, and the other, and then we all play Football Manager. But big up yourself, John Joe. Hope you get a hug tonight before bedtime. Ravi, question for both. How many windows will Ainge need to get the squad he needs? I've said at least 4 to get the ones out and to get the ones in. I'm saying 2 summers. 2 summers, and this is one of them.
Right, I was going to go another 3 windows, which would make 4 in total. So well, we concur. Yeah. I'd say that it's going to take a while because you're going to, you know, it's like he's building like the first team, the first 11 is almost there, but then you have to kind of do something and show something so that you're still enticing top quality players in and not just, you know, transferring in squad members, if you know what I mean, you know. So you've got good, healthy competition. That takes time to do that. It's easy to get in 11 really good players for the first 11, but after that it gets really hard because you're talking about motivation and minutes on the pitch and all that sort of thing. And unless you're a team that's building up ahead of steam, you know, players aren't going to give you too much of a look if they don't figure they're going to be in it full-time first team. So about 3 windows, I reckon, 3 more windows.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like 3 more windows from now, being this one being 1 of 4, 3 more after this, another January, another summer, and a January. By then, I would hope that we've done the business he needs to have a squad in which it's not like what we saw yesterday. John Joe says he shouldn't have changed so many players. That's your opinion, and Ange Postecoglou's is different. And I would trust a guy who's been a footballing manager versus a guy named John Joe on the internet who doesn't even have a face on there. It's just the Tottenham Hotspur logo. That's what I'd say. That's just me. I trust Ange Postecoglu more than I trust any YouTuber, including myself. If I said, oh, he should have made all these changes, but he says different, and then I go on and say, oh, an Ange I trust, obviously that'd be a lie. If I don't trust when this man says, I thought this squad could do a shift, and I said to them to put in a shift, and they did not. Plain and simple. Big up, John Joe. I appreciate everybody counter-arguing my argument. I do appreciate that, so helps make the world go round, you know. Every peanut butter needs some jelly, if you know what I'm saying. Big up Hansi G, seeing you killing it in the comments. Edward Y of Oz says, we lost, get over it. It's a Mickey Mouse Cup. Well, I would have liked it, but I feel like regardless, rivals would have made fun of us if that was the one that we did win. They would be like, oh, well, that's the smallest one. I mean, that's how fans are rating it anyway. FA Cup is our cup anyway, right? That's the one that we're going to go for, so, right?
I've got high hopes for the FA Cup this year.
Let's just hope it's, you know, it's not a match before deadline day. Let's just hope that.
We've got the January window.
You see what I did there? Yeah, you see what I did. Jamie Gitt says, Ainge had the oils. He chose to use Levy's broken crayons. Unless Levy bites managers' necks, sucks the life out of them, and turns them into his puppets, I'm beginning to wonder.
Oh, no, I think that's a long bow. I don't think Ange is anyone's man. I don't think he was told or coerced or persuaded to play that team in the League Cup just to protect the Premier League. He did it himself.
Agree with you there. Kay says, in Ange's defense, I do think Levy has drilled into managers that Champions League is more important than cups. I mean, that's proven over time with quite a few managers. But Ange made the team selection at the end of the day. Who else was he supposed to play? You want to rotate some of your key cogs that are getting you good results in the Premier League. Who do you play? The guy that's getting a fucking healthy paycheck. That's what I would say. Maybe you want to window shop someone. I don't know. Harry Nichols, total mismanagement, nothing more, nothing less.
Oh,
Big
that's
up.
a bit rough.
Big up. Kuva says we would have been home to Norwich in the next round if we'd won, by the way.
Well.
Well.
Ifs and buts, man.
Ifs and buts. Gio Reyna. Sorry, that's a U.S. men's national team player. Big up Gio Reyna. Big up everyone. Come on, quiz. Big up Gio Reyna. Always love anyone hit me with the quiz. At least Ainge is giving the club a lot of things to talk about. Yeah, at least that's true. It does never fail to provide just that. Why does West Ham always start their first team during Cups, but Tottenham never does, regardless of manager?
Well, their manager's been there a while and Ange is still new. So I don't think you can taint Ange with the same brush as previous managers for doing what he did.
Yeah. Callum Roche, love your show. I'm just sick of our shit. Fair enough. Hey, I appreciate you being here. I've said throughout the show, this is just my opinions, y'all. Let's not, you don't have to be too upset with me about my opinions. I don't like strawberries raw, but if they're in my smoothie, it's fine. If that's an opinion you disagree with, it's just an opinion, man.
What did you make of Ange's demeanor post-match when he was answering questions? What did you see?
I saw a man that got flipped over like a hamburger on 10 players he thought that could put in a shift, that he hoped would be able to put in a shift. That's what I think I saw. And then I saw him trying to kind of justify that. Again, anyone who hasn't been here from the beginning of the show, if you want the clearest, most concise way that I've described why this is not Ange's fault, the first 20 minutes of the show, I was on solo, I guess it was like 15 minutes. I was just on solo doing my thing. So I would encourage those of you late. I'm just kind of responding to the comments now because obviously most people feel differently. Got a lot of shit on all the channels I joined yesterday saying that it's not Ange's fault. But that's okay. We're all allowed our opinions, right? Moondog, good evening with a super chat. Big up Moondog, always in. Moondog. I was about to howl like a damn. My dog's sleeping right here. I don't want to wait. Well, he's deaf. So actually I could do it and he wouldn't hear. So, or actually I could do it. But there's my deaf dog. Everybody say hi to Chewy. Not Chewy as in like a chewy bone, but like Chewy is in the Hispanic way of saying Jesus.
So if you have like burglars coming into your house, they can make as much noise as they like. But if they shine a torch, your dog's on it. Just
No, he would be like, "What are you doing?" He's not a good guard dog. I'm the guard dog. J-Co, big up J-Co in the house. Says Jacob, all Spurs fans know we have no bench. It just shows the level of commitment on the part of Levy. We all know, but Ainge didn't know. And if you say he should have known, I would say, when have they played Ainge ball? When does he have again, I'm going back to what I said in the beginning, but when does he have video proof of them playing Ainge ball? When does he have factual, show me the evidence, as people like to say. Show me the video proof, as some like to say. And there it is.
I want saliva swabs. I want stool samples. I want data extracts.
David Allen, what it proves if Van de Veen's injured, we are stuffed. If Bissouma is injured, we are stuffed. If Madison is injured, we are stuffed. We have a shallow depth. Even add Ugoti to that squad. Add a bunch of players to that squad. That shows we have no depth. There's zero depth. We are as shallow as a toe pool. One of them, I bought my son one of them, like, is a plastic big circle, and like you can fill up this much water in it. It's not a pool, but we say it's a pool. You know what I'm saying? That's what we don't have depth, but we say, we have these players who are supposed to be backups and do a shift. Crazy to do 9 subs, 100% crazy, says Rowan Kumar. Big up. I don't think it was so crazy. I think it was on point. I think it was what a big club should be able to do. We want to operate like a big club. We should be able to rotate. That's just my opinion again. Big up. John Joe says he should have done it in a league game and not a one-off cup game. Again,
which one?
We're all talking right. Which one? We're all talking about which Premier League match doesn't matter. Someone tell me. Someone tell me which Premier League match, and someone say that to Ainge. Say, hey, this Premier League match doesn't matter. And he'd tell you the same thing he told that goofball preseason. Every result matters, mate.
The Cabbage King.
The Cabbage King, yeah, the Cabbage Patch Monster. Nicholas with a lot of hope here. We would have lost against Norwich, he says. Do you see any more players by Friday? I'm hoping at least 3 with another 5 out. It's optimistic, I know, but let's all dream a little, right? Do we not think there would be bumps in the road? This is going to take a few windows, says Hit the Bar. Agree with that. Dundada's in the house, showing some love. Dundada, I see you as a moderator on a lot of channels. I'm going to make you a mod on this channel. You're always over here spouting love, saying hit that like, etc., etc. So big up yourself. I see you mod on like Flawless's channel and stuff, so I appreciate you coming on over here, showing some love. Woodsy says, as much as we made it easy for them with a shocking performance, Fulham looked pretty decent and deserved to win it in the 90 minutes. I mean, one shot in the first 45 is apparently Ange Postecoglou's fault. I don't know how to write that narrative personally. All Ainge had to do is ask the supporters. Okay, so now he has to have a WhatsApp group. Let's add him to the WhatsApp group. Who got Ainge's number? Let's add him to the WhatsApp group and let's have him text us. Check in with me before you pick your lineup, Ainge. we'll talk as the fans, have a direct line to the supporters, and we'll all tell you who to play, how to do your job. I mean, John Joe, I don't know what you do, but whatever you do in life, someone telling you how to do it, unless it's like, you know, somebody you respect, I don't see that happening. Unless it's someone you admire, how's he going to admire the footballing knowledge of the average fan versus his, who's been scouting talent since forever ago? But yeah, let's add him to the group chat, Paul.
Which fans? I mean,
yeah, which fan? Who do we need to elect a fan who can tell him, hey, in this match you got to do this because the fans feel this way. It's silly. It's silly. John Joe, I appreciate you being here again. I can't keep saying it again and again. I do appreciate you being here.
It's not like all the fans agree either. It's like there is dissenting opinion. There's fans out there that think Eric Dyer's good. Should Ange be?
People wanted him for captain before Sonny was nominated. They all said he can be a captain. He's been here for so long. It's funny to me. Dane Scarlett coming on proves my point, Nick. Dane Scarlett being the first sub at 45 minutes proves my point. Go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
So Ange, just let me finish. Ange,
hang on.
Ange said in one of his first press conferences about, you know, there's loads of people with advice, but he's got to make his own mind up at the end of it. So that's why he often goes into clubs alone. You know, he likes to get a feel for the place. So I think it's perfectly legitimate that he's done it this way to find out what's what. You can't go off what people say. You have to feel it and see it.
You know what they say about sex and football fans have in common? Moaner's gonna moan. That's a good point. Seems mad. Big up. What? What does that didn't make sense? Did it not make sense, or was it too silly, Paul? What are we laughing about?
I was just expecting a bit more.
Oh, sorry. What does football fans and people who have sex have in common? Moaners are gonna moan. Yeah, that's good. Andrew Seymour, hi guys. To me, it was his fault, but I still think Ainge is what we need. My problem is I hope it hasn't put a dent in the good field momentum to play the first 11 that play at the weekend.
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all. I was busy loving myself furiously, Jacob. That's why I was 5 minutes late getting here. Big up Kuva, you dog. It is hump day. Sad thing is many fans want to keep several last night as backup. Exactly. But if he didn't put this on display and we went out there with a strong as 11, dominate the hell out of Fulham and just put the work on them, people are still at the transfer deadline going to say, well, maybe Højbjerg could be a backup. Well, Oliver Skipp's all right. Remember the brace against Barcelona. I know he didn't do, you know, that's again, it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of the video, that how can anyone sit back and say any of those players outside of Van de Veen should be? The only argument I'm hearing is Forster or Richarlison because he did nick the goal. He did get to the back post. Shout out Perisic. The only time he could get a cross off because Tete's boot was gone, but that's neither here nor there. But he got the cross off. Richarlison back post, boom, header. I liked it. So I'll hear Richarlison, I'll hear Forster. And Van de Veen, obviously, I think he's a young goat in his own right. But everyone else, they should go, in my opinion. They ain't good enough, and they proved it. And, you know, they say, oh, well, you go out there and you see Emerson Royale play with the starting 11, he'll do all right. That doesn't mean that he's a good player because other players can carry him through a performance. We need him to perform even when others around you aren't performing well. Isn't that what everyone said about Christian Romero last season? Oh, well, he should be able to step up when everyone else sucks because he's supposed to be that guy. But now it changes, right? Now it changes because that doesn't suit the argument. I don't understand, and that's just me. These guys aren't good enough to be backup. People thought there was. I even offered the fact that Davinson Sanchez put in a shift versus Barcelona starters. He put in a shift in the cameo versus Brentford. Maybe he can be a backup. I'm in the mud for that. And I take that L on the face because yesterday proves that that is a lie. And I'm full of shit when it comes to that. The people who thought that about Skip, it proves the same thing for them. The people who thought Solomon was a good backup on the left, that he should come in for Son because Son hasn't gotten a goal or an assist. I've heard that. Start Solomon over Son. This is silliness. That's the thing. Last night, full display. Solomon's supposed to be this game changer. Let me see it. Didn't see it, left or right. He got chances on both sides. Ainge Postecoglou was not very happy with him at all. Top right says every mistake of this club is all on Levy, big term, but Ainge shouldn't have put that team out on after all that I want to win talk. Saw the starting 11 and knew we were out. He, of course, is going to say, I'm going to put the best lineup to win. He's not going to say, I'm going to put all the goofballs up there and see if they don't fuck it up. He's going to say, yeah, what did you want the guy to say? You know, all these guys that everybody fucking hates and they let you down time and time again, I'm going to give him one more chance. No, he's going to say, I believe I'm putting the best team out there. But again, he's putting on display all the holes we have. And you know what? If we were a porn star, we'd be making millions because there's a lot of holes that need filling.
I thought Dane Scarlett was all right when he came on. Actually, I thought he was better than everyone that had played in the first half. Had a couple of good runs.
He looks strong on the ball. He looks like a grown man. A lot different than when we first others saw him. But again, the thing about Dane Scarlett coming on proves the point of what I've been trying to make. And if you don't understand, like, why, ask yourself, why would he sub on Dane Scarlett as our first choice? Why would he do that if it's not to get a look at everyone and give them, quote unquote, a chance in his system to see what they can do for him? Sorry, Daniel says I can't fucking watch anymore if this. I'm sorry, bro. It's just a differing opinion. If you can't handle a differing opinion, I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
I'm not understanding why people are going so het up about it.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone got so pissed off at me on the 3 channels I went on yesterday: the Football Terrace, Spurs Talk Show with Sean Butler, and the Irish Hotspur. Everywhere I went, I seen the comments. People telling Waffle, "What a fucking idiot." Today, whenever my point was halfway represented on Henry Wright, people saying Jacob's in for a mud bath tonight.
Look, and even say if this was totally Ange's fault, right? Ange picked the wrong team, and we lost the game. It's one game, man. We're not going to win every game we ever play. Mistakes will be made if that's the way you see it. You know what I mean? It's like I'm disappointed to be out of the cup, but okay, we're out of the cup. We'll just move on. We keep playing. We know Ange is the right man for the job. That we're going to start playing well again on the weekend. So I'm not really all super stressed about it. That's the worst I can see it. Like the worst for me. And I'm not saying I agree with this because you've persuaded me, Jacob. You really have. But okay, it's one game. He fucked up one game. Okay, big deal. Move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Big up Mountain Bushman.
Hey,
big up Jacob and Hotspur Hippie. This is a good time to go ahead and say sub to the Hotspur Hippie if you haven't already. Great little channel over there. You can always find it in the bottom of my channel page, but I'm going to go ahead and blast it on the chat right now. Go show Paul some love and tell him he's a damn fool too for falling in love with a little bit of Tottenham Hotspur. There's the link. Go ahead and click that. Give a sub over there to Paul. All his good work he does over there from down under. And again, I big ups everybody who's here, whether you disagree with me and I'm really making you mad because maybe I haven't gotten to your comments soon enough. I do apologize, but y'all are absolutely killing it today in the chat. See ya.
It just doesn't seem to be something worth getting mad over. You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
Yeah, and this is a good point. At the end of the day, we gave up 1 goal and we scored a goal, and their goal didn't come from us. It just came from Davinson Sanchez getting turned around like a cookie cutter, and then in Mickey Van de Veen being unlucky. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like we drew after 90 minutes with 9 changes to our starting 11 against a Premier League side. If we look at it in a different scope, it might not hurt as bad. I understand, it's a cup game and back against the wall, but still, like, it's not Ange's fault. It's not Ange's fault. They were out there good enough to get you a draw. If this was a Premier League match and everyone was injured who we didn't start, and he threw out that Cabbage Patch assortment of fuckers, we'd all be saying something different if we got out there with a 1-1 draw at 90 minutes, right? We'd all be like, damn, he did that. With Sanchez back there, Richarlison popping up out of nowhere. Oh, my God. And Ben Davies was our captain, and we got out of there at Craven Cottage with a draw. We'd be singing a different tune. That's what I'm saying. Like, perspective is very key here, in my opinion. Again, just my opinion. Big up Moondog, second super chat of the night for them, saying we will win the FA Cup instead. So it's all good. I like that mentality. And let's go again. We are Tottenham Hotspur. We will go again. This isn't, you know what I mean? How many times we lost a damn Carabao Cup match and not got further to get that trophy? Happens every fucking year since 2008. So it's going to be okay. We're going to be all right. I understand the frustration, but you know what? We do have Burnley coming up. Just around the corner. Balpinder, I've been supporting Tottenham for 35 years. We've been a cup team. All right. We still got a cup to challenge for. I mean, this is what Sava also said to me was, you know, I've been watching Tottenham X amount of years and we've always been a cup team. Okay. Well, have you gone into what other cup team do you have? Davinson's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can only play what you got. And talking about their backups, man, they're fucking Premier League players. They should be able to go play against a Premier League team and get a draw, and they did. I think we forget that we drew. It feels like a loss because we ended up losing, obviously, on penalties. But, like, maybe we should look at why Davinson Sanchez was the third penalty taker and why, allegedly, no one else was willing to take that third penalty. No one else wanted to step up and take those penalties. Maybe that's what we could be looking at. I don't know. Well, I'm way behind. Holy shit. My thing just refreshed. And I'm like super, super behind. I'm going to skip ahead. Nick is just trying to have a go at me. He says, come on, man, this is nonsense. Nick, text me, bro. I'll send you the link right now. I don't even care. Come tell me it's nonsense to my face. C-Cube's in the house. Cheers, Jacob. What did I pick in the poll? Shoot. I don't know. I ain't heard your thoughts after this match, but I'm going to say you blame everyone associated. That's what I'm going to say, Cubed. Wonder if I'm right. Cup games are always weird atmosphere, though. We had 85% possession with 9 shots on target and 1-2-1, with one being a pen. Who is that? What team do you support? Chelsea? Are you a Chelsea supporter? I think you told me last time, but I forgot. Apologies. I think you're Chelsea. Did y'all end up winning? I saw you when y'all were down, but then I had to stop watching. Steve D says, I get people wanted a cup run, but he's had no preseason and one window. We finished 8th. We ain't ready for a cup run January next summer. Let's see. He's had one window. Good point. Ainge weeding out players who do not believe in Ainge ball. And absolutely, this is a very good point, Edward, because we saw how many players show that they ain't trying to play the Ainge way. One shot in 45 minutes proves Giovanni Lo Celso ain't trying to play Ainge ball. He's trying to play Giovanni Lo Celso. I'm so pretty. Look at me. My phony World Cup. I don't see him as a World Cup winner at all, by the way. Just going to throw that out there. But he proved that he can't play this system. That's quite frankly what I saw from him. Højbjerg proved he can't play this system. He reverted back to old Højbjerg, old sturdy man. Let me just point and pass back. Oliver Skip. What the hell would he even do?
Nothing. He just ran over players. He thought he was some hard man in midfield, and he ain't.
Big up Howie Ice. I know we were disagreeing on another chat earlier too. Big up. Moondog with a third super chat of the day says, long time ago we was a cup team.
See, none of those players you mentioned there, Jacob, like Højbjerg, Lo Celso, or Skip, when you compare that to Maddison, Basuma, Sarr, they come back. They come back and they just give me the goddamn ball. Give me the goddamn ball and I'm going to run up the pitch with it. Whereas those three, they were hiding all game, man. Hiding. They weren't coming up. They were just standing there expecting the ball to come through to them. And every time it did, they would just pass it straight back to the defenders. So, no, they can't do it.
Big up Ronnie. Big up Spurs fan. Big up Dean Biggs in the house. Big up Beyond 72. Just making sure I say hello to people if I ain't said hello. John Murray, Traore, no end product. Traore with the cookie though. Callum Rose, question, you really think we don't know who we want to sell 2 days before the window closes? I think we know, but it's a matter of getting it done. It's a difference. Jacob, can you imagine a Premier League club without a director of football? Insane. Yep.
I can. I like it.
Sheffield lost to Lincoln. Richarlison scored. That's great news. Positive vibes, people.
Yeah.
Paul, let me ask you real quick side note. Do you think now that he's scored the ever elusive first goal of the season, even though it's not Premier League, and people are always going to use his Premier League stats against him, but do you think this could be knocking that top off the bottle, so to speak, and let the Coca-Cola pour?
I'd like to think so. And it was a good finish. I thought it was a good goal. It wasn't, like he didn't trip over his own feet and stuff like that, maybe. Out of all the positions, I'm not really busting a gut for a striker because we've got this Valise kid hanging in the shadows. How many more strikers are we going to need? I mean, he might be coming into the squad in January or something like that. He's not playing with the under-23s. He's training with the first team squad. So if we were going to get like a striker as a Richarlison backup, I think it's only worth doing if you're buying someone that's 25, 26. Not another 21, 22-year-old, because we've already got that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's see. My wife just texted me. Says she was waiting for a shout out. Is my wife in the chat? Did I miss my wife's chat? Where's my wife? She just texted me saying I missed her chat, y'all. Did y'all see Zoe Hansopoulos checking in? Did I miss?
First up.
Yeah, she got I said it off the top. If you're still listening, I said it off the top of the show. Come on now.
It's never good enough, is it?
Come on now. No, it's not. I guess not. I did say it. Big up High Ice. I don't know where I was in the chat, but it says variety's the spice of life. Absolutely. I'm looking. There's been so many comments. I can't. Y'all are absolutely killing it, by the way. Thank you so much for everybody who's tapped in, whether you agree or disagree. We all love Tottenham Hotspur, so let's all just love each other. I'm missing everyone's comments right now because I'm trying to find my wife's. All right? So I apologize. I'm putting the show. I see this. Sorry, Mr. Grump. I didn't know I was Grump. Don't worry, Jacob. You're not talking in the way our club's being run. So 160-minute audition proves a point. He knows these guys are not up to it. He knows it, and now he's got the proof. You seem to be alone in your views. That's perfectly fine. I'll just stay true to me. It's all good. Agree with you, Jacob. Personally, I think Ainge is no fool, and his decisions were delivered. So there you go, John Joe. Someone else does agree with me. So I guess that's not true. I'm with Girl Love Spurs. That's cool. Shout out Kate and her channel. Every Jacob needs some Kate. We never agree, but we have massive respect. Absolutely. Shout out Kate, just a girl who loves Spurs every single time. Dundada in the house. I haven't seen my wife. 100 likes, lads. We did hit it. 123 likes, everybody. Appreciate everyone who did hit that like button for the show, whether you think I'm talking waffle or whether you agree with me. Showing some love to the channel goes a long way. Big up Jim says, you're not talking garbage. I understand what you're saying, but I just think we made too many changes, and it's frustrating that the thing is, as fans, we've not won a trophy for 15 years, and it hurts like hell. It does hurt like hell. I can understand that. I definitely understand that. Richarlison scored. He's still no share of me.
Still no share of me,
Still no share of me. Chris Peters, YouTube chat member. Sorry if I've missed you previously, says, Ainge should have split playing the B team players over the last two halves. He screwed up. Again, we can all play Football Manager till the fucking moon rises, but I guess the moon never actually rises. The moon's always there. But regardless, we can. No, technically we just spin and we see it.
Yeah, but that's the same with the sun. We just spin and see it, and it rises.
Big up, Bobby K. I don't know how it works, man. I ain't been up there. Big up, Bobby K. Here's my wife's comment. Says Chewy. She's shouting out to Chewy. Jesus. Shout out Chewy.
You think the moon's just always up? Like every night, the moon's up there. Just appears.
My wife, I had to text her and tell her. I always shouted her out. Love my wife. Everyone knows that. I always talk about her. Lack of preseason didn't help, says Paulio. I think I'm catching up. We're close. We are very close. Don Dada, big up, Don Dada Diamond. Get your questions in the chat. Keep it respectful. We love engaging with our subscribers and value supporters. I couldn't have said it better myself, and that's why the newest mod of the moderating families here. Alan says, I keep telling you, ready salted skip is pony. He proved it yesterday that he wasn't good enough in the Ainge system. Proved it. He could be good somewhere else. I think he could do bits for a team like a Brentford or not Brentford, like a Sheffield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A team challenging to stay up. I think he could do bits. Tom, but not for us. That's me. Tom Crockett says, I think Ainge knew some would struggle, but he absolutely needed the evidence. Absolutely. I know this ain't a court of law, but in a court of law, you need that. Right, Paul? Show me the evidence. Video proof. Big up the show, says Spurs Squad. Big up Spurs Squad. Big up Emil. Says, I really don't get the Foster hate. Sure, he didn't save any of the 4 pins, but if it weren't for his saves, we don't even make pins. Yeah, no hate for Foster, except for that the penalty. 4 out of 5, he did the same thing in 4 out of 5. It's a little strange. Yeah. I know. I saw the Chewy comment, boo. Sorry. She said she commented Chewy, and I found it. Spurs GCTV. Ainge is a 4-year contract. Will take at least 3 windows to get the squad he wants. Yep. Then we can start thinking about cup runs. Anything sooner is diluted. I don't know if it's diluted, but it's hopeful. It's admirable.
We're all deluded.
We're all deluded in some way, right? I don't think it's deluded to want us to win a trophy this year, but I don't think it would have happened. Big up, Dundot. I appreciate the support, mate. Howie, a person going who I know doesn't agree with me, says, Jacob, we're here because we love your show. Don't diss us and tell us to smash the dislike button. Oh, I didn't mean to diss you. If you disagree, I hope you hit. I always just say hit the dislike as a joke because like there's usually 4 people that dislike every video that I do. So I more mean it as a joke, Howie. I'm sorry. I apologize. I did not mean it to diss you. But do smash that like button instead of the dislike. I just more mean it as a joke to the 4. I guess I should show more of the lovers, the love, than sarcasm to the haters, I guess. But that's what it is. It's only out of place of love, Howie. I appreciate you being here. It says, many football folks have criticized Ainge for the move, but still admire him. Yeah, and I don't think anyone's called for Ainge out either. I haven't seen that at least. I mean, I've seen it as like a joke, but I don't see it as like a legitimate thing anyone's actually touting at this moment.
No, not at all.
I think the people who are criticizing him are just criticizing what his choices were. And I think it's fair to criticize his choices. I'm just saying what I believe and why I feel the way I feel, which happens to coincide with what Ainge said post-match, which was I needed to see these players and give them a chance. How else could I say that they can't work if I haven't given them that chance? And I know we've seen them given chances after chances after chances, but that is irregardless in respect to what Ainge is doing and what he's working on.
Ainge does make his mind up quickly once he's seen players. Like you say, the Eric Dyer captaincy at Barcelona. Okay, that's enough. Seen you. That's it, you're out. So there's going to be a few players that played against Fulham that's it, they're done now.
Big up, John Joe. I did not know your sarcasm in the comment. I feel like I'm so far behind in the chat. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But I am so far behind in the chat. Y'all absolutely killing it. Big up, Bobby the Greek. Big up, Alex W. Enjoying a Tito's. All right. That was made right here in Texas, my friend. Enjoy it. C. Sherman says the logic that playing with bad players makes you worse is a fact. Fact. A double fact. TT Tone. Ainge knew these players were below par, hence he played the decent players in the first 3 games. This result will hopefully make him a better manager long term. Absolutely. And this is at the end of the day is his first loss that matters in a Tottenham Hotspur suit. So when you think about it, every loss should make you a better manager, and he's subscribed to that thought process throughout his entire career. Yeah. So again, I have no fear that he's learned from this, the mistakes that he needs to learn from it. But again, while he did make mistakes yesterday, I do not blame yesterday on Ange Postecoglou.
I think that's fair.
But I agree he made mistakes. Is that fair? I can agree there were mistakes made, but I don't blame him. I'll just put it that way. Quez Ali says, Jacob, I largely agree with you, but your logic, how did he know Spence wasn't good enough? He didn't play Ainge ball with his back against the wall.
No, just in training.
Yeah, attitude. There's because if you show the right attitude but you're shit, maybe you can get away with looking like you're doing the right things at training when the pressure's not on. Yeah. I'm catching up. I'm only 20 minutes behind now. I was 35 minutes behind. Big up, David Allen. Big up everybody in the chat. I'm kind of flying through here. Let me put it in here again. The Hotspur Hippies channel. Go show some love if you haven't already. Always support all the channels. Even if you disagree with them, support them. At least if they're good people, support them.
If you hate them and don't watch them.
No, fuck those people. But the other ones, the good people, definitely like and subscribe over there to them. Like, share, subscribe, support your quality channel as you continue to get brilliant content on a consistent basis. Big up. All love to Henry, Sava, and Sean. I got a lot of love for them. I disagree with basically most of what they say half the time. But I love them all, and they do a lot for the community. So big up to them. I'm super behind. Thanos says, let Ange do his job. Hit the bar. Totally agree. Paul, people getting so stressed. You are out of one cup at the first hurdle. Not a big deal. It is a big deal being out of the cup for sure. 1,000%. I'm just not losing my top over what Ange Postecoglou decided to do. The number of changes made the number of changes made means the feel good factor won't go, says Tom Crockett. Interesting.
We'll get our superstars back on the pitch at the weekend, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah, watch. We're gonna go out there and smash Burnley 3-0, and everyone's gonna be, oh, Ange Postecoglou. Oh, Ange Postecoglou. Is that what they were saying? Oh, shout out the traveling fans, by the way. Absolutely killing it. I heard them the entire time through the broadcast. So anyone who was at that Fulham match, know that we heard you here in America, because I was watching the American broadcast and we heard you. Oh, trust me, we heard you.
Right.
Craig the Gecko Man's in the house. Big Ange, the Honey Badger, he's going to get Spurs up there. Batu is in the house. Big up Batu. Let's see, who else? Make sure I'm not missing one. Nikki Maynard in the house. We're rebuilding. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's not going to happen in one season. It will take time. Big up. C. Sherman, you can't throw that on GLC. He played amongst turds. He did.
He was a big turd, man.
But I think it came out, he ran 1.5 kilometers less than anybody on the pitch. 1.5 kilometers less than anybody on the pitch. That's absurd. It sounds like he wasn't really fighting.
I did some player ratings yesterday, and there was players like Gio Lo Celso. I don't know what to give him because I can't remember anything he did. So it's got to be a stinky score.
I remember there was one pass where I was like, "Oh, nice, Gio, good pass." But that
was it.
That was pretty much it. Outside of that, I was like, "We're not doing anything." Our starting midfield created no positive space. Absolutely agree. I'm only 10 minutes behind now. I'm catching up. Big up Jessica's in the house. Big up Stuba Spur. Can't knock with Charleston is currently our joint top scorer. Yeah, big up. Jacob, you're punching. What am I punching? Alan? Levy only gets us to Wembley when he rents it, says Callum. That's a good one. That's actually a good one. David says, the best thing about you, Jacob, you're not hysterical. Oh, hey, tell him to have me on. Maybe I can give him a peace of mind about some things. But I like Sava, Sean, and Henry, and all them. They're all good. They're all good people. So if you don't watch them, you don't watch them. That's all cool. It's not for everybody, but I support them. I support everybody, unless you're not a good person. But they're good people. So, mate, I just hit the like button. By the way, in Australia, we'd call you a dickhead. In the UK, you'd be called a tosser. What's the equivalent American term? Regardless, I still like your show. Keep it up. Come on, you Spurs. There was a lot of slapping in this, but I feel like you gave me a hug at the end. So that's kind of nice. Yeah. A little bit of that, David Cooper. Appreciate you being here. I guess you could literally say dickhead. Paul, what is the... I have no idea.
Asshole?
Asshole, yeah. Tosser. None of those sound great, to be honest. But you know what? If that's how you love on people, then I'll accept it. Rest. It was the first game of the season. No, it wasn't. It was the fourth. Jacob, you have a great show. Big up, Tone. Thank you for that. What was crazy to me, I saw some people on Twitter blaming the subs for the loss. Truly blew my mind. That's interesting. I didn't
Wow.
see that part on Twitter, but that is absolutely interesting.
That's obscure, eh?
Yeah, that's kind of funny. And Twitter people are weird. I've blocked half the big Chelsea accounts as a Chelsea fan. Yeah, Twitter's a strange place no matter who you support. You can always find some funkiness. Psychedelic Shallon in the house. Big up Jacob and Paul. What's the salty hater saying? Has he crawled out the sewer yet? No, hasn't said nothing yet. And we've moved on. The vibes have begun to be immaculate. Audio Artisan, what happens first? Stadium naming rights, back in the top 4, or we win a trophy? Paul, I'll throw it to you.
Back in the top 4 and we win a trophy, because that's happening next calendar year, end of this season. FA Cup, man. I feel good about the FA Cup. You know,
all right. Yeah.
Cup. League Cup's always a load of,
Technically, the FA Cup is bigger, so if we're measuring dicks out here, that one's the better trophy to win, personally.
Yeah. We've already got the Tiger Cup.
We did get the Tiger Cup. We got the Walter Toll as well. Dickhead's more of a common UK phrase than tosser. Interesting. Nobody says tosser anymore. Very interesting. Didn't know that. I'm not sure Fatty would pass his fitness test at Brighton, says Claude Murphy. Interesting. Yeah, you could say that. Psychedelic Shaolin. The two best YouTubers to watch, always chill. Trying to keep it chill anyway. We'll be ending off here very, very shortly. Don't want to hit 2 hours, and we're about 13 minutes away. Still got over 100 of you locked in with United Spurs of America. 132 likes. Nothing to complain about. 180 votes, except for the fact there's 50 people who participated in the vote but didn't like the video. But that's okay. You can do that. You're free to do that. I allow that. After 180 votes, who do you feel is to blame for the loss at Fulham? Right now, 36% says Ainge 100%. He picked the lineup. So most of you from the 180 who voted think that it was Ainge's fault, and that's perfectly okay. 29% says I blame everyone associated, and 27% says players' fault that they are all useless. You know, I feel a little bit of all these except for the Ainge. And that's the one that won. So usually the one that I don't feel at all is the one that loses. But it looks like today that's not going to be the story. Spurs Squad says, you're a lad. Come on, you're a lad. Paul's a lad. He's a lad. I'm a lad. We're all a lad. Reminds me of a Good Burger song. There's a movie called Good Burger. I'm sure you've never seen it, Paul.
No. Oh, that's presumptuous of you. Like, you wouldn't have seen it, Paul. Don't you worry about it.
It's made by Nickelodeon, so of course you've never seen it.
Oh, God.
But yeah, you're a lad too, my friend. Kuva says, big up, Jacob. Don't let the haters get you down. You can be a douchebag all you like, but you're my kind of douchebag. I love that, Kuva. If that don't make you feel all warm and fuzzy, I don't know what will. Keep cooking the content, lads. Brilliant work, as always, says the Psychedelic Shallon. Big up, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Alan Bennett, punching means wife. Too good looking for. Yeah, she is. I always say we're like Family Guy. I'm Peter and she's Lois. She's way too hot for me. You know, like a girl that's out of your league. The typical sitcom, right? An American sitcom, it's always like a big chunky man of the house and like a trophy wife that he's married to. It's like, well, let's be realistic. But hey, I lucked up personally. Cursor's in the house. Big up, Cursor. Big up, Spurs GCTV. Great show, guys. Last night is in the past. Let's get the big win and the weekend. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Smash the likes, says Chelsea Blue and Blue. Chelsea Blue and Blue's here hitting the likes. So can you. King of Queens, another one. Yes, that is another one. Paul Blart, or Kevin James, that technically is his name. Yeah, absolutely. And David Allen, there's a big difference over the manager wanting to win every game compared to the players wanting to win every game. Well, that's a good point. Paul, you got any final words before we end tonight's show? It's been a doozy. I've definitely talked my ass off. I've sweated from nearly every orifice.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. It's nice to, let it all out, isn't it? I think, I can understand why people are frustrated or annoyed or whatever, but at the end of it, Ange did have to see the players, and it's 2 days before the transfer window ends. So, we're going to pick a squad of 25 players, and we know 10 of them are shit. So, you know, I don't know, man. But I'm just looking forward to the game on the weekend. Get back on track, you know. Hopefully, we'll do some business in the next 2 days. Who knows? But you know.
Hopefully. We got a
So
couple
yeah,
comments that came in before we end the show off. Michael, I think there are a lot of differences between the Fulham match and a match like Mura. Zapur just got here. Ainge 100% to blame. One should expect to lose when putting Sanchez out there. Still love Ainge. Back him 100% though. Just wished he backed his best 11 against Fulham.
it was
Zapur,
too quick to turn all of them around, though, wouldn't it? I mean,
I encourage not to go, I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your whole day, but just go back and watch the first 20 minutes of it. I mean, throughout the entirety of the show, I barely talked about the Ansu Fati to Spurs getting hijacked by the damn Seagulls, just because most of it's been me sharing how I felt about the Ainge thing and why I don't think he is to blame. I do, and I will say there were mistakes that were made, absolutely, and he made mistakes that he will learn from, absolutely. But do I blame the loss, the fact that we went out on penalties after a 1-1 draw at 90 minutes with a shit squad? I don't blame him for that. I do not blame him for that. That's just me. Would you ever do a watch along for a Spurs game, says Woodsy? I've thought about it. But honestly, I'm a little rambunctious and I say things off cuff, and sometimes some people will probably be like, you're an asshole, or I'm a different beast on a watch along, Paul.
I've tried. I've done it twice, and I didn't really enjoy it. I just like to kick back and enjoy the game without having to think of being entertaining or informative or anything like that. So it's not really my thing either.
I don't know if everyone wants to see me get all rambunctious and sweaty about men running around a pitch. I don't know. If y'all do want to see it, let me know. Hit me in the chat if you want to see a watch on. There's just so many fuckers doing it.
That's what I was going to say. There's so many people doing it, and there's good people doing it as well. So I don't see why.
A lot of really good channels like the Irish Hotspur doing it. Sava, Sean, they started doing it. Everyone's doing watch along. So like, I don't know. It's pretty saturated, but at the end of the day, in the Tour de France, there are a lot of motherfuckers on bikes knocking each other over. So maybe I need to get myself in the race. I don't know. I've thought about it because when I first started the channel with Michael, shout out Michael, the other half of United Spurs America, I always said that I wasn't going to do watch alongs because that's something sacred to me. But you know what? The channel's gotten bigger. Maybe people would tune in to see me yell and scream. I'm too much of a fan during those 90 minutes that
that's right,
if someone tunes in, they're not going to see me try and like rationalize things. They're just going to hear a lot of like yelling and grunting. Motherfucker ass, motherfucker shit. Yeah, it's not going to be like the most articulate show you've ever heard. I'll tell you that much.
Sanchez outside of the foot to Højbjerg over the skip. It's just going to...
But I see, I'll do a little bit of that, but then it will always naturally lead. It's like my Oliver Twist. It'll start out Oliver Twist, then it gets a little Australian.
Yeah.
Please, sir, can I have some more? More. Anyway, I'm not going to do any impressions tonight. I appreciate y'all have tapped in. 183 votes in the poll. Going to end it there. The winner of today, y'all have spoken. And y'all have said Ainge is 100% at fault. So there you go. That's what y'all say. And that's your opinion. And I'm not going to blame you for yours. You can blame me for mine. Plenty of people have, and that's okay. I appreciate those of you who have tapped in and challenged my opinion. Because if you don't do that, then I just become like a tyrant. No one to challenge me. I just grow to. So I appreciate anyone out here helping me knock down a few pegs. Yeah. Exactly, Jay. This is a rival fan. This is a Liverpool fan says, after one game, it's one game after 4 and you lost on pins. It's not that bad. You guys definitely need a striker. Absolutely. This is from a rival fan, so it's pretty obvious. Arctic Temper, new name in the chat, unless I've missed you today, says, manager after manager, it shows Levy insists the league is the main aim and cups can be safely ignored. Interesting.
And I think that's what's causing some of the baggage, man. That's happened before. But like I say, even though I think this kind of had the same outcome and looked the same, I think it was done for different reasons. I don't think Levy was telling Ange, don't play good players because it's only a fucking cup game. I don't think that would have washed with Ange. So,
I don't see that either. For what it's
No,
worth,
not at
just
all.
like I
Not
don't
at
see
all.
the we've already spent the Harry Kane money. I put those in the same like shelf. If I had a bookshelf, I'm putting those in the same category of I don't believe it personally. Kev Williams says the Fati deal doesn't suit Spurs or the player. We're building a team for the long term. Johnson suits Angels long term. Zapur says, I'll watch the VOD back. Big up for that. I do appreciate anyone who watches this back. Let me know in the comments too. I'll see them. I'll star them. I'll reply. I'm not like Paul. I'm not too Hollywood Hotspur now. You're out here Hollywood. You're like, I'm too big to reply to comments.
No, no, no. It's not that I'm too big now. I might be too big tomorrow. And so I set the expectation that I don't reply to comments because someday I won't be able to if things go well. But I read them and I get a hoot out of them.
I say no matter how big the channel gets, I will always reply to comments people leave back behind. I'm not like Hollywood Hotspur hippie now. We've got to add another H into the. Got to throw Hollywood in there. When he comes on these shows, he has a whole rider that I have to fill out. He needs fruit snacks. He needs beers. He needs Coca-Cola. He needs. Yep, exactly. We've got to have your green room suited with all the amenities.
It wasn't bloody I said Mexican cola, Mexican Coke. Failed your rider. Don't know if I'll be back now.
I said Mexican Coke from the glass, you bastard. He's getting too Hollywood for us. The Hollywood Hotspur hippie. I'm just playing. He will reply. I guess if the fucking wind blows up his ass in the right way, he will reply to your comment. But if not, he's too Hollywood for you.
I've got better things to do with my time. I'm not desperate like you. I'll be your friend. I'll comment. I just want people to engage with my videos. It's good for the algorithm if I reply. I'll do my little thumbnail.
You're silly. You're silly. You're silly. Woodsy, those are the best watch-alongs. Love the chaos. Kuva says, topless, rambunctious, sweaty Jacob on match days. Sign me up. Wait, the word topless somehow sneaked in there. I'll do it. No, I definitely will get banned if I start jiggling my wigglers. You don't want to see that. John Joe, great show, guys. I really enjoy it. Big up, John Joe. Again, big up. Appreciate you challenging my opinion. That's what we're here to talk football about, right? We kept the vibes immaculate. You weren't disrespectful. I hope I wasn't disrespectful to anybody. Cool. I definitely was not trying to be if I was, so apologies. But big up Jay Kismet as well. Shout out Deli Alley. Love Deli Alley. Kev Williams says, Jacob, can we all get a super long coys tonight? All right, I'll draw it out. I'll do the coys. I'll draw it out a little bit. I've already picked somewhere to redirect all you beautiful souls to. So if you do want to keep viewing on the YouTube, going to send you over to Sarcasm City TV, Flawless, the one and only. He's a great guy. Got a great channel over there. Don't know what he's talking about tonight, but go on over there and say he's a United fan. So just go on there and say Papa Matasar owns Mason Mount. He'll know what you're talking about. Or you can just say I sent you. Chris Peters, love the show as usual. Big up Jake and Hotspur Heavy. Big up Chris Peters, YouTube chat member. Big up C. Sharon. Big up everyone who's tapped in. If I've missed you, I apologize. Slacking Armchair Supporter says, who is Spurs? You know who
Spurs. Greatest football team the world has ever seen.
There you go. Come on. Todd Spurs. Big up Jacob Paul and chat. Enjoyed the stream tonight. Interesting. The double's still on. It ain't all doom and gloom just yet. I will 100% be here for a watch along, says Zapur. Harry Kane's killing it in the Bundesliga. Yeah, he has 3 goals, 2 assists, I think.
Who?
He's doing great. Who? Harry who? I'm keeping tabs. I can't lie, Paul. I unfollowed him on social media, but I did follow him on SofaScore. So I get updates whenever he farts, when he breathes, what he eats, how many bratwursts, etc. So I got my tabs. Hey, he's a legend. He's a legend. Did you not keep tabs on legends that left us and went and played elsewhere in their careers?
I look occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
Are you keeping tabs on Harry Winks? Are you just being funny?
No. I've read that one's okay. I don't need to know. Don't need to know. Much love, John Joe. Appreciate that. I was greedy to want the treble. The double is fine, and we're definitely doing it. The double's on till it ain't on. Ain't that right? Hoybier to Atletico, looks like per Callum Roche. Spurs should not sign Greenwood. I do not support
No
that.
way.
No
way. 100%
That will never happen.
Shouldn't even be a thought.
See, Kuva's here supporting me. Always followed Paul Gascoigne after he left.
Yeah,
Love the bloke to
right,
bits.
Yeah, okay.
See, I still love him. He's my club legend that I watched and grew up with. Not grew up with, because I was a fucking grown man by the time I was supporting
There's
Spurs.
a few I followed.
Yeah, that's saying that's fair. I think that's fair. Big up Kuva. Big up every single person. I see 138 likes. I appreciate every single one of you who have hit that like, who's participated in the poll. If I missed you, I do apologize. Y'all were killing it tonight. Keep it locked. I'm just going to send you over to Sarcasm City TV before we end. But again, just to recap, I love you all, even if you think I'm a fool and I'm speaking waffle and I need to blame ANGE POSTECOGLOU. Over 30% of 180 of y'all agree that it's ANGE's fault. I disagree, and that's okay. We all love Tottenham. We all want glory, 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 Tottenham Hotspur. Again, we will have it one day, just not yesterday. But that doesn't mean tomorrow won't bring a brighter future. I'm looking forward to Burnley. I will have something again tomorrow, Thursday. Going to bring something to y'all at some point. Keep it locked. Hit that notification bell if you haven't already. If you choose to get notified, or if you don't want to be fucking bothered by the YouTube app chiming on your phone, avoid the bell. Don't hit the bell, because otherwise the bell will let you know when we're going live. We did go over 2 hours. I said I wasn't going to let that happen, but it happened.
Flew by, man. Flew by.
It did, absolutely. It absolutely did fly by. David Cooper, Jacob in Australia, it's often good to be called a dickhead. Is that true?
Yeah, it can be.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not good to be called mate either.
I love how hippie is in the stadium. So it's your fault then, Paul, that we lost. Wait, we were at Craven Cottage.
I'll take it. Fuck it. Why not? Yeah, blame me.
Anyway, whoever you blame, know that I love you if you listen to this 2-hour show or if you watch the beginning. I appreciate you. Big up, shout out to everybody who is in the house. Zapur, I would go 3 hours, but my son is waking up from his nap, aka it's time for me to get back to work. This was my lunch break, so to speak, and I'm so glad I could share that with y'all. But I do appreciate every single one of you that tapped in. 141 likes now before we end off. I appreciate every single one of you. But again, if you're looking for some more YouTube content, gonna send you to a good guy. You can go ahead and tell him that Jacob sent you. But until next time, as always, stay blessed, stay fresh, up the lads, and come on, you Spurs. And Paul.
United Spurs of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.